Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I'm just being me in a world that isn't. Next to the Amplid Souly Grail that got a slight upgrade from the last time I rode it. They have anti-phase 4.0, so it's a little lighter and it seems to have slightly better dampening properties. And I also got this in a 162, so it was fun to see how this rode in comparison to the 57. And to give you a quick summary, this is still a Good Ride favorite, a board I recommend a lot. And while it doesn't have really good directional float in powder, and it has an insert pack uncommon to the rest of the industry, this is an amazing all-day ride that is so fun to turn, so damp yet so poppy and fun, especially for this flex and camber profile. So I rode this 162 this time around with Nitro Team TLS boots and Union Force bindings. I got this in late spring conditions, and I didn't really put a lot of time on this because I've spent a shit ton of time in all kinds of powder, all kinds of groomers, all kinds of uneven snow on the 157 with the previous anti-phase technology. Everything else is the same shape, same camber profile, same stance location, just a different size. And I wanted to see how that rode, and I wanted to see if I felt anything different dampening wise. Spoiler alert, no I didn't. You could watch my old review and it'll be very similar. I will say though, it did feel a little lighter for this amount of surface area. And this is an honest, objective review for you the consumer. I'm not here to promote this for Amplid, and they have zero say in what I say. I can do that thanks to support from this community, as well as sponsorship from a great shop, Blower Board Shop. They're family run, they have a large online presence, and they've been selling to snowboarders longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders on the hill. So if you want to support honest, objective content and a great shop, click through our links to Blower Board Shop and buy something. Now, when it comes to sizing, the 157's my board. That's my size. I love it. This 162 is not bad though. If you have similar specs to me, but you favor more speed, a harder carve, maybe a little bit better directional float and powder, at the sacrifice of turn initiation and control as the day progresses, gets more uneven and sloppy, this could work for you. Now, when it comes to shape, this is tapered and directional, but not super tapered. It's only got 6 millimeters of taper, but there's definitely much less surface area in this smaller swallowtail-like tail. The nose is much bigger. You're riding pretty centered on side cut at 15 millimeters back, but when looking at the setback on board on the reference stance, you're 2.75 inches back from center of board at a 22.5 inch stance width. So it's definitely a good bit more directional, but you're still pretty centered on board for being as directional as it is. And if you want to set it all the way back with this extra setback insert, you have to go from a 22.5 inch stance width to a 23.25 inch stance width, and then you can get 4 inches back from center of board. But I can't access that. That's just too taint stretching for me. Let's talk camber profile. You've got a mellow camber. Doesn't go up super high, but it goes well past the inserts and then has a mellow bit of early rise before the nose and a little bit before the tail. But then you have this spoon tech in the nose. It's lifted on the sides and flat in the middle here, and it doesn't transition down at all into the effective edge. So you never feel it until you get into really soft snow and powder. It's the kind of lifted tech I personally love and appreciate. There aren't many boards with lifted tech that comes down into the effective edge that you don't feel in a bad way on groomers, especially firm snow. It starts to feel edgeless and washy. But with this, I never feel it, and that's a really cool thing. This is more for advanced expert riders, but a committed intermediate who matches up size-wise really well could go with this, because even though this doesn't have a really aggressive camber height, there isn't a lot of early rise, and so it can catch an edge a little bit. This has such a great stable feel, one footing, flat basing, riding around in any kind of condition you see. It always feels the same. The personality never changes on you. It only gets better when you get into soft snow because this nose rolls easier edge to edge when it's there, and it displaces snow a little better as well. It's great feeling underfoot in all conditions. When it comes to edge hold, I felt like this Souly Grail has always done well for what it is. There's no indentions or extensions, but whatever they're doing with the side cut radius helps this grip pretty well, and it stays quiet in all kinds of conditions. Even if you see some hard uneven snow, this edge will buck less than a lot of other boards out there. So not bad in hard snow, but not really an icy snow specialist at all. And I did have to dial back my turns a little bit. So if you really want to commit to a hard turn in hard snow, you need a more disrupted side cut with a little extra grip. Let's talk Souly Grail Flex here. What a good flex. It's medium, bordering on medium stiff, but has lots of pop and energy. You get down by the tail, it's pretty stiff there. In the nose, it's a little bit softer than the tail, but not by much. And what I'm feeling with this board is a little more break in the middle, not as much as many of their future shapes, but definitely something more between the feet, and that's where all your flex comes from, and it does make it easier torsionally between the feet too. Now the 57 I had before was a little easier to butter in the tail, and especially so the nose. Then when it comes to generating air, again, I love that 57. It popped so easy for me. This still pops really well. I think this new technology, it feels a little lighter without sacrificing any dampening, and so the pop just feels maybe a little bit better. I think that's probably the only place where this feels different from the old Souly Grail. And I love especially how easy the 57 tracked into little side hits for me and launched off. This was a little big, a little cumbersome going up 5 centimeters, but it wasn't terrible, and this has such good pop, especially for having such a low camber profile. They've got some magic under the hood here to make this spring easy. If you want to land this switch and ride out, you can. It's not amazing, but it's better than it looks. I've found myself riding switch a lot more than I thought I would for being this direction. And when it comes to uneven snow, it's hard, very hard to beat this board with this anti-phase technology. This board is poppy and on the lighter side of normal, but it has dampness way beyond its flex and pop, especially when it comes to hard uneven snow. It just absorbs chatter so well, keeps the edge quiet, and just allows you to be more of a snowboarder than you are. I think this tech they have is no bullshit. They're doing great things with this dampening technology. Now, when it comes to turning, this 62 was definitely slower than my 57. My 57 was medium fast. This felt more on the medium side for me. It was still doable. Neither the 57 or 62 are the kind of boards I like in the trees, because I feel like I'm riding much more centered with the stance width I can get when I set it all the way back for riding trees and powder. And I feel like there's a lot of tail behind me that can catch and hook up. I like riding back towards the tail in the trees and really getting an easy turn. And this isn't great for that, but everything else, it was pretty quick edge to edge. And when I got this on snow and really engaged this camber and this side cut and this flex, it all worked together to give me really good spring out of the turn. That is way more than you would think for this mellow camber profile. Such a fun turning experience. And while this has a pretty balanced 8-meter side cut radius, you can see it goes up pretty deep in the middle, and it allowed me to make a circle carve if I wanted to. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Across the groomer carves are really fun if you want to touch each end of the groomer as you go down a medium width run. This will be great. And if you want to make longer, drawn out turns and start picking up some speed, maybe even straight line, this is going to be exceptional for its flex, shape, camber profile, all that jazz. This just punches way higher then it's weight class. When it comes to base glide, I found this base to be pretty fast and to hold its wax really well. I don't like white bases with black in there. I'd rather have an all black base, and this won't be easy to repair, but it's pretty good. Not the best of the best, but definitely upper tier for sure. And when it comes to powder, this just isn't my type of ride. Number one, I don't like the setback configuration here on this Souly. Having 6x2 here and 5x2 here really stretches out your stance width, so I can never get there. I'm always riding somewhere around here, and I always feel like I have much more tail than the 4 inches back from center of board at a 23¼ inch stance width would lead you to believe you have. I'm riding it a good bit narrower at 21 to 21.5, and it's just a board I don't want to ride in powder. But now, that's my personal opinion. If you see steeper angle terrain, you're not riding a lot of low angle terrain like I am, and you like a more centered feel, but you want that smooth turning experience this lifted nose area will give you. You want a lot of landing gear for air, and you like more high speed, wide open, semi-steep to steep terrain, this is going to be a great board for you. So it really depends on conditions and the rider perspective. So overall, powder's a loss for me. Might not be for you, but as far as groomers go, this is just one of my favorite boards. I'd love to own this in a 57, and I don't know if it's worth upgrading if you have the previous model of Souly Grail. It seems like you're just getting a little lighter board without any less dampening. But if you're one of those people who has a thriving 401k, you can look in the face of economic uncertainty and flip it the bird. Fuck, why not? All right.